New sketch, right? New sketch. Yeah. So part two here. Just got to finish one more sketch. This will be a short part two, I think. But I'm just back to that same sketch face or the same plane face on this thing. I'm going to do my sketch. I think I've just got to open up my assignment here again and look at the next dimensions for this. I don't remember how this last sketch is constrained, so I'll just kind of look at it here. Um, looks to me like it's a little bit different. It's being constrained by this 0.375 from this line down and 0.250 from this line over, but it's to the line and to the point. So they're not to the same point, which is okay. But so I'm just going to project these two pieces of geometry in my sketch. Then I'm going to draw this thing around. I'll use my little loop-de-loop function to change or put in that shape here. But what I'm going to need to project, though, the projected geometry for me will be this edge and this edge, and that'll be where I dimension those two to and from. Maybe, yeah. Now I'll go back here, and I'm just gonna rough in this shape here. I've kind of got this space to work with. I've got this shape over on my other side, and you know, yeah. This one might be a harder one to like put in the line lengths as you went around, just because maybe the dimensions I'm giving you aren't always like they include the fillets sometimes, and sometimes they don't. They're just really ugly dimensions, um, some ways. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll start it this way, I guess. And I'll just keep reminding people that what I'm looking for, what I'm seeing is I'm looking for those geometric grade constraints to show up like that. Not necessarily the length that I'm looking for, but I'm looking for those little grayed out constraints to show up to help lock me in like that. I always want this to stay. That's a parallel constraint to that other one, but which would be fine. I just want to apply some constraints for me automatically. And as long as you're seeing them show up, it is going to apply them. That one's going to stay parallel, which would be good. That'll work for me. This way up to here maybe, and then it just loops over halfway here. And we're gonna go this way, halfway down. There, I'm kind of like almost like line of sight that other point across the way there. And then it goes down a little bit, and then it goes in this way, halfway, like this. Then it goes this way, and halfway this way. Oh, my thing inversed the other way, so I'll just delete it. Restart. That. There's my constraint showing up. That's good. I'm gonna lock it in. Went the wrong way again. That's okay. I think that's gonna stay in line with that other one, which is that's what's showing up there. That's good. And then this way till I turn the corner. And then this way down, maybe. And then a full circle around like this. And then what I'm going to do is instead of like doing another line segment, this is where you could have ended up like maybe this is how you guys have been ending up with like a line and a line. I mean, I can click and drag these from these end grips here. I could click and drag this together. So in the event that you feel like you have to add an extra line, you could just escape the line command and grab the grips like you would in CAD and pull them together, or you could use a coincident constraint to drive them together. But that's my rough shape. All of the fillets here, 1/8 of an inch as well. So I feel like I can just add one and then I'll add an equals to all of them. Maybe. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to add a fillet. I just need to add a dimension for crying out loud. Just add a dimension. There we go. Perfect. 0.125. And then I'll just go around this thing and make them all the same. So I'll just say equal this one to this one, this one to this one, this one to this one. This is an equal constraint, is what it looks like the parallel line, but the parallel line is off on an angle. It's like looking the same, but it's at a slant. So this one is, that is this equal constraint right here. I did. I just kind of like picked one, picked one, picked one, picked one. Yeah, it always needs the reference one that you're making equal to the other one. It's kind of it's an order of operations thing. If you choose the first one, it'll make the other one, the second one, equal to the first one you selected. So I dimensioned my first one, obviously. You wouldn't have to do that though. You could actually make them all equal to each other and then put one dimension in and they would all be good. This I can tell this is kind of funny here. This needs a this needs a tangent constraint, I think, in order for it to go to sweep around. So let me just see. If I say tangent this fillet to this, it kind of cooperates and looks more correct there. A lot of it's just learning how the constraints work too, right? I know we didn't use them a lot in CAD, but so this is kind of the exploration of how powerful they really are. And the only ones I've really chose to use so far is my coincident constraint, a tangent constraint. I've used equal, and I've used either vertical or horizontal, but some of these I have not even used yet. Maybe on some of your guys' stuff I've used perpendicular here and there just to make right angles. So and you'd be like, well, why? The reason is because it makes less data inputs to change, right? That's the idea behind that. Instead of just having a bazillion dimensions that I have to go in and individually modify potentially, this just makes my sketch so much simpler. And that's the idea always, that you'll always be chasing that, I feel like. A simple data inputs for designs make modifications easier. So I feel like you'll just chase that your whole life. That's what I do. Except for I forgot the top. Someone drink it. Cheap Winco copy. Now I'm just gonna add some dimensions, more dimensions. What do I got? I've got all of these dimensions I'm going to add. Half inch line to line, half inch line to line. I'm just kind of looking at what the dimensions of the feature are, not where it's locked in space. Although I could lock it into space there too, 3/4 and quarter inch. Maybe I'll do that. First up, I'll lock it in. Looks like it's 0.375 down from this line to this point, and then it's a quarter inch over to the line, not the point though. So I say that it's 3/4 from line to line here, line to point. This is 0.375. And then it's what, quarter inch from edge to, oh, there we go. Hey, mine finally started doing what your guys is doing. Line to line here. 0.25, sorry, 0.25. That just shows you that some of my stuff is already kind of constrained now. But I can kind of chase this around. Yeah, so this is like now all constrained because of just the relationship that I have here, tangent to tangent plus the radius is figured out. So it knows that this is now all constrained. It doesn't know how far over this is, but we have a dimension. This over to here. You can see I'm just choosing the line segments a lot of times here. This is half inch, 0.5. And it misleads you that yeah. Yeah, it's like, tomato tomato. Sometimes you find the way you did it the first time, you don't want to do that again. Th- This is a quarter inch from here to this line segment here. It's supposed to be 0.25. So now all I'm doing is kind of working around this thing. And here's my next stuff that's not constrained. It probably just needs a dimension. It's 1.25 inches from this line to this line, which probably will lock in more. I think I must, and when you see something like this show up in mine, I think there's a tangent constraint that isn't applied. So what I do is I come in here and I grip this, I just grab it with and hold down left click and I just flex this thing. And I'm like, oh, I can see that this is holding tangent. In fact, there's a tangent constraint that shows up that shows that. I think if you select this, it shows which one is what it applies to. If you hover over it, I should say, if you hover over it, it shows which ones. So this one here is not tangent, but it will be now. There it is. Now the last thing I think I have is just the overall length, which says it's 2 3/8 from the very edge to there. And I think that's a selectable point on that circle. So let me just check it. Like it just says from this line to this, sorry, this quadrant point here, right there. It is, you can dimension to this point, although sometimes these quadrants on these circles maybe are not selectable for some, I don't know. Maybe in some situations they're not, but overall this one will work. There it is. And then I'm going to pull it out here to the side and say that it's 2.375. And my shape's done. And it's easy to read when I get back into it. I can see it pretty good. It might not be how I would choose to constrain that myself. If I wasn't given the dimensions to work with originally, there I might constrain it somewhat differently, but this will work. Or I might choose to dimension it a little bit differently. Like I think it was Riley that pointed out to me, it is kind of annoying to think that some of the dimensions go from the point to point, some of them go from like line to point. And I agree with that. I'm like, yeah, usually I have a more systematic approach to dimensioning. Like I might be dimensioning to the outside edges all the way around and not to the centers of radiuses or something, So I can't say that I would choose these dimensions if I was just anyway. If it was something that I was totally walking away from, but this will work for us. So I'm gonna say finish. This is another cut. How deep does it cut in? I think it cuts in a quarter, or sorry, an eighth of an inch deep there. I think it says that here somewhere. Cut this profile 0.25 inches deep. So I'm gonna do an extrusion cut. 0.125. That sucker is done. Kind of complicated. Save it. That's your one IPT part file for that one. Sweet. That's part two. It was short. Definitely save your file.